Two marine grade speakers up high and your LED light. First compartment just outside the main walk-in door. So we do have a storage compartment down low here. And actually on all of your compartment doors, cabinet doors, any Winnebago part is actually going to have an identification number on it. That identification number identifies the door or the part that Winnebago has built or supplied. So if we ever need warranty parts, or just need parts to replace parts, that number will identify that part. Makes it a lot easier to actually get the right part sent to you. In the first compartment, there is a little slide port down at the bottom here. It just slides open. So what we're going to do, you can bring extension cords, coax cables, because there is a TV hookup and a 110 outlet in this compartment. So if you want to put a TV out here, any of that stuff, bring it through the slide port. Still allows you access to close this and lock this compartment. Just make sure when you travel that we do close that slide port, because you will get road debris up in this compartment if you do not. Also on the top of this compartment is your 1000-watt inverter. And on your inverter, there's actually a GFI plug-in on the front. So if for some reason it's not working, come check that plug-in, because that plug-in actually controls the whole inverter. There also is a 12-volt reset on the left side of that inverter too. So with all your compartments outside, on your keys are actually going to have your gray key will actually do every compartment on the exterior. And it also does the bottom handle lock of your main door. So on your bottom handle lock, that gray key will unlock that. And then we also have the bigger black key here. That's actually your deadbolt key. So that'll do your top deadbolt lock. Your key fob on your Mercedes keys, which is right in the front, you have lock and unlock, will actually unlock your front two doors and also unlock your main entry door back here, or lock it vice versa.
Can I interrupt Ben with a couple questions?
Yep.
All right, we had one question here. What does the inverter do?
The inverter actually takes 12-volt power, your battery power, and it actually will step it up so you can use your normal 110 plugins pretty much. It's like entertainment. We can run satellite receivers, we can run DVD players, stuff like that as we're traveling down the road or dry camping without having to have the generator running or any source of power coming in besides your 12-volt batteries.
Okay, and we did have a couple questions too that are kind of specific to cost, and also a question about a foldable bed. And if you just leave your email address in the chat box, we'll be able to get back to you regarding those specific questions on cost.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so moving on, you do also have your screen door, which the release is right inside there. You just pull down on it. We can close that screen door, and it does have a slide port. This helps keep bugs and that stuff out. The latch is there. So moving further this way, right above your tire is actually your furnace. So on the bottom of your furnace, the bottom hole here is actually the exhaust air coming out. So that is hot air coming out. So we got to be careful whatever we lean up against there or whatever we set there, because it is very warm. The top one is actually a fresh air intake. They do make bug screens for these, which is actually a very, very good thing, because any wasp, any of that building nest in there can actually ruin your furnace. So those bug screens are actually a very, very good purchase. Right above here, we have access to the back of your fridge. There's two clips right up on top. All we're gonna do is slide it towards the middle, and then we can pull it off. And that just gives us access to the back of the fridge. Pretty much everything back there is just service stuff. Pretty much the only reason there'd be anyone getting in there is to work on the fridge itself. And it's actually better if you don't get in there, because actually these covers, if you don't get them clipped right, they can fall off on you as you're traveling down the road. So if you don't have to get in there, I would suggest not getting in there.
All right, a couple more questions. Question about how to connect a TV to the outside of the motorhome.
Okay, and again, that was in that first compartment right here. So in this first compartment, again, you can bring your coaxes through that slide port, and up above here, there's a 110 plug-in and a coax. That coax connector is pre-wired into your antenna, and it's also pre-wired into your cable port on the other side.
And then a question about the gray keys, asking if those are unique to each motorhome, or could those be used on, someone else's motorhome to get into their compartments?
Not specifically unique to the coach. The deadbolt is unique to the coach. They make 10 different keys or 12. I can't tell you the exact number of keys they make of that type of the gray one. but the chances of someone else having your key that you're even close to is really, really remote.
All right, and then there was a question also, is there a deadbolt model available for driver's door on Rayo 25P?
For a deadbolt, I would have to check on that. I'm not sure right offhand. You probably can email in and we can get you more specifics on that.
Yeah, I think if we got your email, we could answer that question offline.
Yep.
All right, that's it for now.
All right, so coming back here, next little access port we have here, just has a clip on the front, open it, it's your hot water heater. So on your hot water heater, on the front part of your hot water heater, we have the LP coming in. So that's where our liquid propane is actually going to do the burning, which is going to heat your water. On the back side of the hot water heater, we actually have an electric element. So we have two sources of power to heat your water. You either can use electric or LP, or we can use both at the same time. Recovery time's faster if we do use both. LP is actually going to be a faster recovery time than electric, but most people actually prefer using electric that they already paid for instead of wasting LP. Kind of a preference thing, whatever you want to do. Main thing on the outside of your water heater is there is a drain plug right here on the left side. So that's going to have a lot to do with winterizing. When we winterize, we bypass the water heater. We actually unscrew that drain plug and we let the water drain out of your water heater.
Couple more questions already here. When dry camping, how do you know when the batteries are ready for charging?
We actually have two panels inside that will tell you the voltage that battery's at. Once we start getting into those low 11s, we really want to get power back into the batteries. So if you keep an eye on your battery levels and manage them, it will kind of tell you when you need to bring that power back up.
All right, and then how easy is it to install a satellite in the Winnebago View Profile 24G?
If we're doing a rooftop satellite, it actually is a 4-hour process here at the dealership. You kind of have to know what you're doing because there is a lot of sealant. We're drilling into the roof, we're drilling through the roof, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to cause more damage than help. Otherwise, you always have the option of a portable satellite dish too, which hooks up from the outside. Okay, so around the corner here, we do have the storage. This storage actually is a storage you can access from inside underneath your bed. We have access to the outside. There is a safety cable up here in the top corner. Very important because if that door would swing open all the way, your hot water heater literally can melt the fiberglass on that door. So if that ever pops off, make sure you put it back up because it actually is really important. Right here to the left of that compartment, we have a gravity fill. And what a gravity fill is, it's a way to fill our fresh water tank without a pressurized source of water. So literally open it up, stick your hose in, turn the hose on, or you can literally take jugs of water and dump them in there if you have to. But it just gives us another way to fill our freshwater tank.
All right, I think we'll save this for when we get inside the coach, but help me remember, Ben, how do we change the volume on the GPS separate from the in-dash entertainment?
Okay, I will show you once we get into the infotainment center.
Awesome.
Okay, the compartment down below that is actually what I like to call wet storage. It's your one storage compartment that does not have carpet in it, so a lot of people store dirty things, grills, stuff like that in this compartment. Okay, coming to the back of the coach, there is a full extension ladder that will get you to the roof. The roof is fully walkable on. The ladder can support 225 pounds. Just, if you go on the roof, just be very careful because anytime it's wet, frosty outside, it is very, very slippery. So take caution when you get up there. On the back, we also have your camera, which sits up high in the back. Your camera is adjustable, but it's a manual adjustment. There's 4 screws on the side that you take loose, and then you can manually tip it up or down if you want to see further out or closer to your coach. Down below that, we have a sewer hose storage in the back of your coach. With just literally pushing your sewer hose straight in. It just stores in there. It's got a drain that actually comes out the bottom, so any leftover water, anything that drains into that little holder will actually drain out of your coach. All right, down below that, we have towing. You have 5,000 pounds of towing. We have 500 vertical on the tongue weight. So we don't want to exceed those numbers because that's what our warranty covers, and that's what that hitch is actually rated for. We have a 7-pin adapter beside it. All right. Now coming around to the driver's side here. So the back compartment here is actually your electrical compartment and your water compartment. So starting in your electrical compartment, we have a 30 amp cord here, 30 amp breaker over on the pole there. In here we have a plug-in right here. This plug-in is actually for your generator. Your generator feeds power to that plug-in. Now we need to take that cord, plug it into that outlet to feed power to the coach. So if you start your generator right now, we'll get no power going to the coach from the generator. So make sure you plug your cord into that outlet to feed the coach. Way in the back of that compartment is your portable satellite dish hookup and your cable TV hookup. Pretty far back there, so a lot of people put extensions on there, help them access it a lot better. Down below that we have our access port. It's got 2 little red clips on it. Face them towards the middle, pop it down. Just be very careful because there are sharp edges here. If you bang it too hard, you can cut yourself. There is a little rubber flap here that can flip open. Then you can put your cord through there. Just make it a little tighter so you know, no animals or critters pretty much get up there. Coming over here on the left side of this compartment is actually our water compartment. So first thing in our water compartment, on the bottom we have 3 drains. 2 of them, the 2 outside drains are low point drains. So it's just the lowest point of your coach, helps get water out of your water lines. The middle one is actually your freshwater tank drain. So that will dump all the fresh water out of your freshwater tank. Above that we have our gray pole here and our black pole here. It's literally a T-handle. You're going to grab it, you're going to pull out. Your dump is actually right underneath here. Take the cap off, put your sewer hose on, just quarter turn, put it in the dump station. Always dump your black first. Get rid of your solids first, and then we're going to follow it with our gray tank. Our gray water is a little bit cleaner, helps rinse the hose out, push everything down, kind of clean it out. Okay, above that we have a water pump switch here. There's actually 3 places in this coach to turn your water pump on and off. One of them's out here for your outside shower. Then you have 2 inside, one in the bathroom, one on the panel inside. They all work independently, so it really doesn't matter where I turn it on, turn it off at. Right beside that is your freshwater inlet. So this is going to be for like your city fill, our city fill line. And then we can also fill our freshwater tank from here. We have a diverter valve which is above that, and it's labeled normal and tank fill. So if you're hooked up to a pressurized source of water and you want to fill your tank, you're just going to take that, flip it to tank fill, and it will fill your freshwater tank. Just make sure when you're done filling that tank that we go back to normal operation. If it's not in normal operation, you won't get any water getting fed to the coach. It'll just cycle in your freshwater tank. Beside that is our outside shower. We have hot and cold out here. Hose with the shower head. The shower head does have a stopper on the top to shut all water flow off. There's a holder on the right side to hold it. And then way up top, way up here, there's a little pink label. It's a winterizing valve. So right now it's in normal operation. We'll flip it straight up to where it says winterize when we're gonna winterize. That's what this hose is for right here. Winterizing hose, we literally take the white cap off of this. We're gonna put this down in a jug of RV antifreeze. We're gonna turn our water pump on. We'll go to every faucet and run it until we get pink coming out from the RV antifreeze. And then after you do that, you'll want to make sure you dump a little bit more down the traps of each sink, shower, all that stuff to winterize the traps. And then also before we do that, we'll want to pull the water filter and put the bypass onto the water heater, which I'll show you when we go inside. Also on the bottom of this, you do have another one of those slide ports. Slide it open. Now we can bring our water hose through there, hook up to our freshwater inlet.
Ready for some questions?
Let's do it.
All right, can my 2012 Via tow a 3,500 pound dinghy?
It should be able to, as long as your tongue weight doesn't exceed the recommendation of your hitch. I would have to look for sure if that's a 3,500 pound hitch or if it's a 5,000 pound hitch. More than likely, I think it's a 5,000, but again, refer to your owner's manual will tell you the towing rating for that coach.
All right, a couple questions here I actually get cut off on just because I can't see the full question. So the question about disconnecting the coach and chassis batteries when the unit is in, if you could finish that question for me, that'd be great. Also, how do I stop the water tank on my 2012 Via from overflowing?
Okay, there's 2 ways it's going to overflow. Once it's full, it's going to hit its overflow and actually pour on the ground. Another thing that happens is once in a while there becomes a siphon to your freshwater tank. And what we have to do is a lot of times we have to add another line to that overflow just to break a siphon. Because if it siphons, it literally can siphon about half your tank down. And that just comes from a straight shot down without having kind of a trap in it to break a siphon. So a lot of times that's an aftermarket thing. Come in, you add a siphon to it at a service dealer.
All right, so cable TV can be hooked up on either side of the coach then?
Nope, cable TV can only be hooked up here. This is an in feed. The other one on the other side is an out feed. So if you want to put a TV over there, that would supply coax to your TV.
All right.
That it?
One more. Propane furnace turns off in the middle of the night. Is there a way to ensure that that doesn't happen?
Well, it shouldn't turn off unless it reaches temperature inside the coach. Otherwise, if it's turning off on you and not coming back on, or staying off for a long time and it gets cold in there, you might have an LP problem. Could be a regulator problem, a flow issue, something you'll probably want to take to your service dealer and actually have them check it out for you.
All right.
All right. So moving on down the coach, there is a panel right here. This panel is actually fastened underneath the coach. It literally is just your gray tank behind there. There's no storage, no services under there. So coming further down, for all your tires on the whole coach, 61 pounds of pressure all the way around is Winnebago's recommendation on this. And it actually tells you right inside your driver's door tire pressures in there, which I'll show you that in a second too. If you do need access to check your tire pressures, the best way to access that is actually, this is just a hubcap pretty much. It pops right off. If you get a screwdriver or something, get right behind it, you can pop that whole chrome piece off, which gives you a lot easier access to the tires valve stems. The valve stems actually both face into the middle of the tires. So you will need a reverse truck checker to check the front one. So we push straight onto the back one, pull straight back to check the front one. But if you remove that hubcap, it's a lot easier to check them. Or you can add valve extensions, any of that to bring those out, which makes it a lot easier too. So your other two compartments underneath the slide are storage compartments. So it's one full compartment. So it can handle a lot of long things, a lot of storage in there. Both of these compartments do have safety cables on them. They're for a reason. Main reason is if I took those cables off, these doors would get jammed behind our slide. And if we brought the slide in, we could literally crush these doors. So leave those on if you do have this slide in and out. All right, so moving forward on that, one more compartment in front of both those storage. And actually this is gonna be your LP compartment. And actually we have a release right down at the bottom. We're gonna put a release. Opens that up. We have your fill station here, 80% valve there, and then we have a master LP switch above that. So in this coach we have two LP switches. We have a master one outside and we have a secondary one inside. If you don't have both switches on, you won't get any LP to the coach. And sometimes when they fill it, actually every time they fill it, they're gonna shut this one off. And there are times that they forget to turn it back on. So if you're not getting LP to your coach, come out here, check this switch, also check that switch inside. They both have to be on.
All right, some more questions. My nav station went dark. Do you have any suggestions to get that corrected?
There is an option in your navs to do a factory reset if you can get it back on. Otherwise, they do make where you can actually shock your system. It's part of River Park that actually sends you a file, you put it on a zip drive, and you can actually shock your system, which is supposed to help. So there's a couple things you can try. If it happens, another good thing to do is just pull the fuse for the radio, wait 10 seconds, put it back in. It will reset it, but there's no guarantee it doesn't happen again. If it continues to happen to you, you're probably gonna wanna get that radio changed because there's probably a defect inside the radio.
Does 61 tire pressure apply to even replacement tires?
Yes.
At what temp do you have to be concerned about freshwater tank freezing?
Anything around freezing temp. I mean, you get anything around 32 degrees, you're probably gonna want to, I mean, as long as we're running your furnace in this coach, we don't have to worry about it. We can go down quite a bit lower than that. But the second you shut your forced air furnace off in this coach, now you have to worry about water lines freezing up, your water tank freezing up. But again, as long as you're running that furnace, main thing, the lines will stay thawed out, your freshwater tank will stay thawed out. Quite a bit below freezing mark. All depends. I mean, you go too low, it's probably gonna freeze on you some of your lines and stuff.
Any tricks to getting the wheel cover back on?
Rubber mallet. is the easiest way. Just bang around the side. You got to hold right in the middle tight and bang all the way around the edges to get it back on. They are really tough clips to get back on there.
All right, Ben, lots of questions here. How often should we grease or silicone the slide?
Actually, if you're gonna lube your slide up, you'll want to use like a dry Teflon slide or a lubricant that's rated for these slides. We're not actually lubricating the actual track, or that's not what we're after. We're actually after lubricating the little gibs inside of here. So if you're gonna lubricate, you wanna just have a nozzle on it and squirt right in there and right underneath. Don't actually lubricate the track, because all that's gonna do is draw dust, debris, and actually cause it to bind up and not work right for you.
Which chassis fuse is in the coach battery charge circuit?
Can you say that again?
Which chassis fuse is in the coach battery charge circuit?
Coach battery charge circuit. Are they asking for a specific fuse or?
Not sure. Maybe that questioner can clarify and we can get back to that one.
Come back to that, yeah.
Will a low temperature impact the propane furnace?
Yes, actually your temperature difference is the rate of vaporization in your tank matters on temperature. So the colder we get outside, your tank can't actually create enough vapor pretty much. So if we let our tank go way down and we get down to under a third, it's really cold outside, it's probably not going to keep up with the demand of your furnace. So on those really cold days, or not cold days, but if you're in cold temperatures, camping and that, make sure you keep your tank at least half full. I mean, it just will save you from a lot of headaches.
All right, what is the best way to rotate the front and rear tires?
Front and rear tires. I would have to refer to your manual on that. Otherwise, I mean, email in and we'll get an answer back to you on that one.
How many hours will the generator run on a full LP tank?
Well, it all depends. It all depends on the load. Technically, the generator draws about 0.6 gallons per hour running, and we're a 13-gallon tank here. So fillable to 80%, you're roughly about 10 gallons of LP, and it all depends what we have running on that generator, if you're constantly running the generator. But I can't give you a specific hours because it varies.
Can we show where the radio fuse is located?
Well, there's one behind the radio. I would have to tear the dash apart to get to that fuse. Also, if you look in your Mercedes chassis manual, down under here, in your Mercedes fuses here, your manual will have the layout of exactly where the radio fuse is under there. So you can pull this one, which will actually shut down power to there and reset the system.
All right, and then we had a question about winterizing procedure, and I think just due to all the specifics involved with that, we'll direct you to our winterizing video, which is actually in our video library on our website under the RV Lifestyle tab. We have a great full-length video that goes through all steps on both winterizing and de-winterizing.
Yep, and I'll go through a little bit more as we go through, just to hit the basics of it. I won't go into full detail. Again, refer to that video if you want to know more.
Sounds good.
Diesel tank is actually, are we done with questions?
For now, yep.
Okay, perfect. So your diesel tank is actually right beside the driver's door, and your diesel tank is secure if the door is closed. No one can access that, no one can siphon your diesel out. So if you need to access it, just open the door, flip it open, close it, now you have access to that diesel tank. We're gonna use a low sulfur diesel. It tells you right here what you can use, low sulfur, and then we can use a B5 Max biodiesel. Don't use anything that's farm diesel, dirty diesel, none of that stuff. You don't want to use any of that in here. So keep it to low sulfur, you'll be good.
I think we're in a good spot to answer this question. Is it hard to get to the truck battery?
No, it's not really hard. What it actually is, it's right here underneath your feet of your driver's seat. You actually have a battery picture here. If you take these 3 screws out that are right here, the whole floor will pull up. Then there's 2 more screws on a battery cover that you have to take off, and then you can access your battery. Take you a couple minutes, you probably can get into it pretty easily if you have the right tools.
Another battery question. What kind of batteries are considered optimal? Wet, dry, gel?
Depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about for the coach or if you're talking about for the chassis. In the coach wise, we use a wet battery. A lot of people will switch them out to an AGM sealed battery. Kind of a preference thing there. You can go 12 volts, you can go 6 volts. There's tons of different options you can do. Better wise, I can't tell you better wise, it's kind of a preference thing again. Your AGMs are a little bit more expensive. There's a little less maintenance to those. So if you look at it that way, probably like an AGM sealed battery would probably be your best bet.
All right, great.
Okay, so also in here, while we're in here, you do have storage inside your door. 2 little clips turn open here. Pops down. Just gives you a little bit of storage. Some people will store diesel gloves. Other stuff you don't have to access all the time, because the only time you can access this storage is when the door's open. So underneath the dash here, a couple things. So again, where I showed you that one time, that's all your Mercedes fuses right there. So that has everything to do with the Mercedes chassis, are under there. Has a little lightning bolt on the front that shows your fuses. The other thing we have under the dash, if you actually look way back under there, there's a little red knob back there. I know we had a question about chassis disconnect and coach disconnect. Well, that would be your chassis disconnect. What you're gonna do is push that little button in on the top, and we're gonna pull it straight off the post. And if you can get in there again, you'll see that post sitting there, and you'll see it just sitting off to the side. So that disconnects your chassis battery, so there's no parasitic draws on that chassis battery. The one thing you want to make sure of, there's a sign right beside that post there. It actually warns you to wait 10 minutes after shutting your engine off before you disconnect that. There are memories and stuff in the transmissions, in the engine, that have to save and shut down before we can disconnect that.
All right. Quick question on how to level the coach on uneven ground.
Best way is use like Lynx levelers would be your best bet. So if you pull up and you're off level to the driver's side, what we're gonna do is pretty much make a pyramid of blocks. So you'll start with, say, 3 of them. Put it behind the front tire, put it behind the back tire. Now we're gonna back up on those. Test it for level, see how level you are. If you're not quite level, pull off those blocks, add a couple more, back up on them. Main thing to do though, if we are putting our coach up on blocks, is we wanna chalk our wheels. Just so we can't roll anywhere, can't go nowhere. Just a safety thing, always chalk your wheels if you're gonna put yourself up on blocks. The other thing we have right inside the door here, your hood release is actually right around the corner. So right around the corner here is your hood release. It's just a pull straight back, will release your hood. All right, now we'll come around to the front after we release the hood.
Quick question on the diesel. What happens if you use V10 diesel that many truck stops sell in Texas?
Well, right there on your, actually right there on your diesel fill, it tells you B5 max. So I'd be very cautious. I mean, what it's gonna do is gonna sludge it down pretty much. So if you can stay B5 or below, you'll be better. Or again, that ultra low sulfur diesel.
All right.
So after we released your hood, right on the left side of your Mercedes symbol is your release. You're just gonna pull up, and we're just releasing this up here. We're gonna lift until you hear a click. Now it locks itself. So underneath the hood, a couple features under here. On the right side, we have windshield washer fluid is here. We have our brake fluid here. Power steering fluid is actually right down below here with a dipstick on it. This here is actually a remote terminal for your battery. Since we don't have access to your chassis battery, they give you 2 remote terminals. So here's your positive remote, and then over on the right side of your chassis is your ground on that side. So if you ever need to jump someone or they need to jump you, this is where we would do it from. Or if you just want to put a charger on it or something, do it from here. Only way this stays open is if you do have something clipped to it. Otherwise it pops back closed. Coming this way, chassis air cleaner's under here. Oil fill is here. Oil dipstick is behind the oil fill. This is your engine coolant. This is your cab air filter. So this filters all the air coming into your cab, so all the air you're breathing inside. If that gets plugged up and that, clean it out, reuse it. If it gets bad enough where you can't reuse it, just replace it. Don't ever use water on that because it will fall apart on you if you use water. Now, another important thing. On the front of the coach here is your DEF fill. What that stands for is diesel exhaust fluid. So diesel exhaust fluid was mandated by the government after 2010 to be on every diesel. What it is it's urea that's pumped into your exhaust that kills the carbon monoxide. Hence is why we don't have all that black smoke coming out of diesels anymore. The one thing about it though is very important. You have to add this yourself. It's a 3.4 gallon tank. After you've used 2 gallons, you will get a warning up on your dash. Once that warning goes on your dash, it gives you so many starts and so many miles after that. If you still don't add it after that, it will lock you out of your coach. There is no limp home mode, no nothing, it actually just shuts you down. So make sure you keep that in there. You can top that off at any time. You don't have to let it go down to when your warning comes on. But I would let it go down a little ways, maybe put 1,000, 2,000 miles on it before you fill it, just because the stuff does crystallize, so we do want to cycle it through the system.
A couple questions here real quick. Should the engine coolant ball be full to the top?
Nope, there's actually markers on the side that tell you where the max level is. It's about halfway up, just past halfway. And it says max on that right side there. Do not fill it to the top because it does expand and all you're gonna do is waste coolant. It's gonna go out your overflow and just pour on the ground and you're gonna think you have a leak.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so don't overfill it. Just take it to that max at the top level.
Is the air filter hard to change?
Which air filter? I mean, the chassis one takes a little bit more because we do have to remove a lot of stuff, so it does take a little more. This one's really easy to change. Just has a couple clips, pull it out, change it. But yeah, the chassis one will take some tools and take a little bit more time to open up.
Is the circuit that charges the coach batteries added by Winnebago?
Yes. Yep, it's a solenoid underneath your passenger seat that actually charges your coach batteries.
Okay.
All right, so with engine wise, your oil changes are going to be every 15,000 miles or 2 years, whichever one comes first. Personally, I still recommend I would do it once a year still. Kind of up to you. I mean, your manual will tell you 15,000 miles, so you can do it any way you want to. Break-in period on a brand new coach is going to be 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles on your break-in period. They want normal acceleration, normal deceleration. The main thing is they want vary of that speed. They want your speed varies. So they recommend if you're gonna use your cruise, every hour pull off on an off ramp, pull back on. That's enough varying of speed. Otherwise, for that first 1,000 miles, just don't use your cruise. You by yourself will vary that speed enough. Okay, coming around here to the passenger side. So in the passenger side, again, we have the same storage in the door, which we did on the driver's side. Underneath the footrest of the passenger is actually our tire tools. So there is a jack in there and there is some tire tools. There's also an eyelid in there that screws into your front bumper. If we ever had to hook a chain to this and flat tow it just off the road or something, that bolt screws in there, you hook a chain to it, now we can pull it. So you literally take a screwdriver or something, twist that, the whole floor pops up, you'll see the jack and everything sitting under there.
A couple more questions. Does it hurt to use leveler blocks on just the front right wheel, for example?
No, if your back is level, it does not. Nope.
And how often does the chassis filter need to be replaced?
The chassis oil filter or fuel filter?
I'm not sure on that one.
Oil filter you'll do anytime you do an oil change. Fuel filter, your manual will tell you a mileage on that. I can't tell you specifics on the fuel filter wise, but on the oil filter, just do that every time you do an oil change.
Okay.
Underneath the passenger seat, there are some 12-volt breakers. All these 12-volt breakers are labeled. All the stuff under here is pretty much exterior stuff. We got your awnings, we have your steps. We double protect our coach breaker back there. You have a 30 amp breaker back there. We have a 55 amp breaker here just in case. And back to that question, does Winnebago add the charging your batteries for your coach? All that stuff is right underneath this seat. There's two solenoids. One's a battery disconnect, one's actually a charging solenoid underneath there. So if you're ever curious where they are, you can actually lift that up and you'll see everything underneath there. All right, how about we head inside and we'll talk about some of the stuff inside. Actually, just before we do that, you do have a release on your step here. We're gonna release there. And then in your step well here is your two deep cycle marine batteries. They're Napa batteries that Winnebago sends with it. So it is important to check that water level. The more we check that water level and the more we maintain these batteries, the little bit longer of lifetime we're gonna get out of them. And checking the water level, there's actually 4 caps on top, 3 battery cores per cap. Just fill them up till they're just above the battery core in there. And we're gonna use a distilled water for filling those batteries.
Would the breakers have anything to do with that nav station not working, Ben?
The breakers,
I'm assuming the ones you just showed.
those breakers on that side, no. That won't have anything to do with the nav station. The nav station is strictly pretty much, if it's not working when you have your battery switch on engine, then it has to be something with the Mercedes side. It either has to be a fuse, the fuse behind the radio, or a glitch inside the radio itself. So try that factory reset. That actually probably will take care of it. If it doesn't, again, give a service dealer a call, maybe bring it in and have them take a look at it.
And before we head in on oil changes, are there any pitfalls to be aware of if a do-it-yourselfer performs the oil change? No,
not really. Main thing about your oil change is use the right oil. Go to your manual, look at the exact oil that they want you to use. Brand-wise, not the biggest deal, but the type of oil is. It's a specific oil in these Mercedes chassis. The main thing about it is it's a Euro blend oil. And then make sure you do get the right oil filter too. But make sure the Euro blend, and we do use a synthetic in them. And that will all be in your manual under maintenance.
And should the coach batteries be disconnected in the winter?
If you were storing it, yes, I would disconnect them, because no matter what, coach, house, doesn't matter, there's always going to be some parasitic draws on these batteries, which over time, they're going to draw down to nothing. So if we disconnect it, that just gives you a little, safety that next time I come, the battery's going to be good. Main thing with disconnecting your batteries is make sure they're fully charged before you put it away for storage. Because if you have them almost dead and then you disconnect them, put them away for storage, they're probably going to burst on you, freeze and crack. So make sure they're full charge, disconnect both sets of batteries, and then put it away for storage, and you'll be fine when you come back to it. Okay, so right inside the door here, so pretty much right beside your awning switches, inside the door we have 2 more switches. Right here is your coach battery disconnect. So it says coach battery on it, it's got a green light, it says on and then off. Main thing about this, like right now I can hit it and you don't see anything happening in the coach because the converter is actually taking over and actually keeping all our 12 volt stuff going. But if I shut this off right now, you'll hear the solenoid under the seat click, and actually our batteries are not being charged right now. So if we're plugged in and that got bumped, eventually you'll see your battery voltage start going down slowly. Make sure you just come over here and turn that back on. That's always got to be on to charge your batteries. Down below that is a step control. So on the step control, if I would turn this to the on position, every time I close the screen door or the main door, steps are in and out, in and out. If I shut it to the off position, the first time I open the door, the steps go out, they stay out. We do have it safety in our ignition. If you turn the ignition over, steps automatically come in. Pretty much the only way you can leave these steps out is drive down the road with this door open. All right. So now in the coach here.
And Ben, speaking of batteries, I think we're gonna get low here on our battery and maybe have to switch devices. So we'll keep going. If it cuts off, stay tuned and we'll be back up live in just a minute or 2.
Perfect, sounds good. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna talk about inside, I'm gonna talk about the operation of your slide room. Things we need engaged to operate that slide room. So the first thing we need engaged is actually your parking brake. It's one of your safety switches. Your parking brake is actually a pull lever parking brake down right beside your driver's seat. And it's actually a folding parking brake. So right now it's engaged. I can push it down, it's still engaged. The only way to disengage your parking brake is lift, push the button in, and then push it down. They have that folding parking brake so you can fold it down and now the seat can swivel over top of it. It's the main thing. The other safety switch is now your ignition key. So we have to have the chassis on to run the slide in and out. A lot of the older models had a key up by your slide room switch. This now becomes that key that used to be up there. And they prefer your engine running just for voltage drop reasons. These do take a little bit of a toll on your batteries, so you want to have engine running so we don't have that hard drop on it. So once you have your engine running, parking brake on, up here in the top cupboard, above your fridge, on the right side is going to be your slide room switch, and it is labeled driver side front. Simply in and out. You're going to hold it the whole time. Hold it. Once it comes in, you'll hear the motor shut off, then you know you're all the way in. Same thing going out. You'll hear the motor shut off, you know you're all the way out. Main thing with your slide is make sure we don't have anything in front of it. Make sure our compartment doors are clear outside. Just do a quick walk around, making sure nothing's going to jam underneath, jam on the outside, because it will either break what you have in front of it, or you'll actually break your slide room, which is even a bigger problem.
A couple questions here. Can it cause permanent damage if the batteries were to get down to 8.4 volts?
Anytime we let the batteries go that low, it's always going to do some damage to those batteries. I mean, it just pretty much decreases the life of them. More than likely, you're not going to notice it right away, but if we continuously do that, you're going to notice it. It won't hold a charge very long at all. So the more times we don't let it go that low, better off we are.
Does it hurt to keep the coach plugged in all the time while it's in storage?
You know, I would prefer you not to. For one reason is our coach batteries are always being charged. So if you're plugged in, you're constantly charging those batteries. There's a chance you could boil those batteries over. So the best way to do it is actually just do your disconnects and then don't plug it in. Just keep it shut down. There's no reason to have it plugged in. You're probably going to do more damage than actually help things.
All right.
Okay, so up here in the slide, a couple things we have. So first thing we have are your extensions for your dinette. We're just gonna lift up and they're gonna lock in place. They are sturdy enough that you can sit on them or support your legs. To release them, easiest way is to lift, pull the bar up a little bit, and then go in with them. And then we do have one on the other side also. You do have your table that's going to fold down for your bed. And what that's going to be is underneath the table, there's your righty-tighty. You're just going to take it as loose as possibly can go. And then that will allow you to actually remove the table. Check. Table and leg. You can store the leg underneath or wherever you want to. Easiest way to put this in is actually tipping up the sides. So pull your cushions out. Tip up that side, pull the cushion out, tip up this side. It just makes it so much easier if you do. You won't fight it the whole time. Then just put the table in, pull your cushions down. Now your two backrests on both sides actually become your filler cushion. So one there, and then the other one there. So literally, takes you a couple minutes to set up this bed. Really easy to do. Same thing putting it back. We're just going to repeat those steps. We're going to lift up on this cushion, lift up on this cushion, remove the filler, take the table out, put the leg back in your base, and then we'll just put the table back on top of the leg. You can leave it loose if you do want to twist it, so you can give you a little more room on the sides. Just when you travel, make sure we tighten that back down so this isn't spinning, twisting, all that stuff as we're traveling down the road. You do have storage under all three of the cushions. They do flip up, give you storage. The two on the sides will give you a little less storage because we do have wire tracks, mechanisms, stuff like that underneath there. But again, you do have storage under there. So we do have, in your dinette here, you do have seatbelt on this side, and we do have seatbelt on that side, and then we also have your seatbelt in the middle.
All right, hold on for 1 second, Ben. We're just going to plug back in the audio and see if that fixes a small issue we're having. All right, hopefully that fixed the echoing issue. Sorry for any technical difficulties that we're having today. This live video thing is not exactly an exact science. So we do want to answer, though, a question now here. I think maybe that got cut off. Does it hurt to leave your RV plugged in over the winter?
And again, back to that question is I prefer you not to do it just because we are constantly charging those batteries when they don't really need to be charged, best thing to do again is put a full charge in those batteries, disconnect them, disconnect the chassis battery, leave it unplugged. You'll have a lot less troubles. You'll have no chance of boiling your batteries over, any of that stuff. So my recommendation is not to plug it in.
All right, ashtray on 2012 Via won't go all the way in. Any tricks there?
Give it a good hit on it. A lot of them actually get stuck like that, and you just have to bump it in a little bit. That's how 90% of them are. Okay, so now above your dinette here, we have full storage all the way above in your slide out. These are positive pressure latches. So the easiest way to do it, put your thumb in the front, and then all we're doing is rolling this latch right there. And that's what's releasing it. So, and that's how all these cupboards are up here. All of your Winnebagos are going to come with that Winnebago black bag. Anytime you have problems, any of stuff, refer to your manuals. Your manuals are the easiest way to get the answer quickly and right there at your convenience. Otherwise, you can go to Winnebago's website. They have a lot of those manuals online too in PDF files. All depends how you like to do it. Also in your manuals, in the operator's manual, which tells you pretty much what I'm telling you today, how to operate everything in this coach. Back here in section 11, there is a maintenance chart. Just a good reference to keep up on batteries, seals. You know, it's going to tell you before each use, monthly, weekly, yearly. Good reference to go to, just keep up on some of that warranty stuff. And then, so that's your operator's manual. The next big one is your operator's supplement manual. So what that is every manual for every single thing in this coach. So the manual that came with the microwave is in here. The manual that came with the TV is in here. They just take it and they take those manuals and they put them in binder form. This is something Winnebago does, which is a very nice feature. In the front, it's all subcategorized. So if you're looking for something, really easy to get to right there, pretty much on the second page. So again, when in doubt, any problems, refer to your manual. A lot of times that will walk you through without having to call a service dealer or take it somewhere. All right. So in this coach, we do have MCD shades. Very nice shades because they'll never fast spin on you. Nice and smooth down, nice and smooth up. Pretty much down, lock them, now you just let go. Nice and smooth up. That was the privacy shade. Behind it, we have a day shade. The day shades help a ton during the day, just keeping that heat out. Good idea to put them down. Will help keep your coach down to temp when that sun's not blaring in here. So moving back here, we're going to the high point convection oven. So your high point convection oven, very nice feature in here, gives you a lot more storage without having a normal oven. It works as a convection, works as a grill, and works as a roaster. And also a microwave. So inside here, it's going to come with a rack. It does have nylon bumpers on it. This rack is strictly for convection or the grill. Don't use it on a microwave. Just like anywhere else. Anytime you put metal inside a microwave, it never goes good. So if you look inside the microwave up here, for convection and grill and that, we're using an element just like you would on your oven at home. So identical to that, it's just with this small space and how we circulate it with a fan and everything, it cooks 50% faster than a normal oven. So you'll either want to adjust your times or adjust your temperatures when you're cooking. And it tells you right on the front of the microwave a lot of times, 50% faster cooking. Convection wise, how we're going to use that is we're just going to push convection. Going to ask you what temperature you want. Temperatures are right here on the numbers. So if I want 300, push 300, push start. And as it's preheating, these lights will start lighting up until it gets to 300. Then once it gets to 300, cook like you would at home, and again, adjusting your time or your temp, depending on what you're cooking. Stop and clear. And there are some presets down below that, popcorn, potato, beverages. Also with this microwave, you cannot actually type a time in. So what you have to do, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, and then the start button will add 30 seconds at a time. So you can do a minute 30, minute 40, you can do that. Just have to keep an eye on it. Okay, down below that would be your wardrobe. So in your wardrobe, lots of storage. Also have the hanging rod up high for clothes in there. This gives you big storage. Store a lot of stuff. Down below the wardrobe would be We do have one of your speakers for part of your surround sound inside the coach here. This one has a subwoofer built into it, and then we do have 2 more sets up front here. Down here we also have an LP detector. So your LP detector is really important. It's actually hardwired into your coach battery. So anytime your coach batteries are on, your LP detector is going to be on, and that's for liquid propane gas. It's on the floor because propane is actually 1.5 times heavier than air, settles down to the ground, sits down there. That's why it's low down there. There is a test button right on it. Test it, make sure it works, off it. If it ever goes off, get out of the coach, leave your door open, shut your LP tank off outside. Go get it serviced, figure out why it's going off.
That probably woke some people up.
Probably. Alright, so on the back side of your dinette here, there is a steel bar. If you're asking what that is, it's for a car seat. So if you put a car seat here, that's the tether that we tether it around to. Alright, so now back here in the bathroom. Kind of bathroom, half of your bathroom. Up above, medicine cabinet. All of your Winnebagos will come with a free sample of AquaChem. What AquaChem is, it's a black tank deodorizer and sanitizer. So it helps break down bacteria, then helps for all the smells. We always want to use some kind of chemical in our black tank. It just helps, makes everything go a lot easier. You can use the liquid, or here we have tablets. They're like dishwasher tablets. Just toss them down every time you dump your tank, and then it works for the whole next full tank pretty much. Sink over here, you do have a little stopper in the bottom. Plug your sink off. Faucet, really easy to use. We're going to pull straight out. Forward is hot, back is cold. Straight in, shuts it off. Don't be surprised if you do see some drips coming out of this as you travel, because technically we are holding water up to this point. Movement can make drips come out. Same with your kitchen faucet. If you get drips onto your covers, completely normal. Nothing you really can do about it, just happens naturally. Do have more storage underneath the sink. Alright, so above your sink here, you have one switch which is just for the one light above this sink. Then we also have a 110 outlet which is behind your faucet back here. This outlet is actually controlled with the GFI plug-in in here, along with your kitchen plugs. Anytime we're within 6 feet of water, we have to protect it with the GFI plug-in. In this coach, your GFI plug-in actually is down right below your bed. So if you don't have power to your kitchen outlets or your bathroom outlets, check the GFI, because more than likely it tripped. There's a little reset button on the front of the GFI. Push it in, you'll get power back to those outlets. Alright, moving into the bathroom. Okay. So back here, first thing, right around the corner is your second water pump switch. A little hard to see, but right there. Nice feature, in case you forgot. Came in here, did your business, forgot to turn the water on. Now you can do it from in here. You don't have to go out and do it. Towel bar up high. Toilet-wise, right on a foot pedal. So literally the foot pedal's on the right side. If I barely push that foot pedal down, it's going to fill the bowl up, fully depressed, drops it down into the black tank. And then we also have a cleaning sprayer. Cleaning sprayer only works if the foot pedal's down. Just a safety so we don't pinch it against the wall, kids don't mess with it, stuff like that. And it is a porcelain toilet, which is really nice. Right around the right corner, you do have another 110 outlet also in the bathroom here. Moving to the shower, we do have roll-up door. So what we're going to do is bring that door across, and it clips right on the trim. Clips. To release it, you're going to push in, and don't let go of it. Hold it the whole time because it does have a lot of snap. The door is mold resistant, mildew resistant, and it self-cleans itself. There's squeegees in the trim here that squeegee it off every time it closes and goes out. Actually, in your shower, you do have a hanging bar up high. Careful how much weight you put on that. Put too much, it's going to actually break your shower surround, so just a couple things. Otherwise, just push up, and it is removable if you don't want it in there. Shower head. Chrome shower head. Button on the bottom will stop all water flow if you push up on it. This, you can change all your spray types on it if you want a different kind of spray. That's important in a coach this size because we're limited to the amount of water we have on board. So you want to maintain your water, kind of watch it, kind of do what they call a military shower. Get rinsed off, shut it off, lather up, shut it off and on. Best thing to do. Hot and cold, hot's on left, cold's on right.
Are all of the electrical outlets connected to the inverter?
No, they're actually, the inverter wise, it's only connected to the one in your bedroom. You have the one under the dinette. We have the 2 that are behind the TVs. Those 4 plugins are the only 4 that are connected to the inverter. Your ones in the bathrooms and kitchens are on a GFI plug-in. We don't ever usually put GFI plugs on the inverter for obvious reasons, because otherwise it's going to trip your inverter out too if we do get water close to it. Light switch is just right around the corner for that. So, moving to your bedroom. In the bedroom, back we have full storage all the way up and around. Does go all the way around the corner, back over to that side. You have a little bit of storage above your head there, and that is actually where your 110 plug-in is, up on the right side there. That one is on your inverter. So use that if you're dry camping, traveling down the road, just have your inverter on, you can use that plug-in. Towards the back, you do have your head lifts, really nice. So you can set them to whatever you want. If you want to release them, just pull all the way up, and then it will release down. We have this side and that side both have the head lift on it. Back here in your bedroom, it's considered your emergency exit window. Labeled, red handle. So if there's ever fire, rollover, any of that stuff, this is the window we're going to exit out of if we're back here. And we can't access any other doors or anything. MCD shade back here, we're strictly going to have a privacy shade back here, not a day shade in your bedroom.
Are the inverter and GFI plugs labeled?
No, they're not labeled. Receptacle 1, receptacle 2. You can pull diagrams up on Winnebago's website. They will tell you exactly which plugins will be on the inverter and labeling of them. So over here you do have a 12 volt TV. TV back here is 12 volt. Your front TV is a 110 TV. So for your 12 volt TV, it just plugs in right here into that 12 volt outlet. Coax and AV cables behind that. Down below you have your controls on the TV, or we can use our Jensen remote for this TV. Down below the thermostat here, you have a TV disconnect. Since this is a 12 volt TV, they give you a disconnect just so we can manage our battery, save battery power. Because even when TVs are off, there's computers, stuff like that, still running inside of them, so there's still a chance that they can draw your batteries down. So if I shut that off, the blue light goes off, now there's no power going to this TV. Next one over is just your light for your bedroom. There. Above that is your thermostat. So your thermostat, really easy to use. A lot like a house thermostat, couple things that are different. On the left side here, you have auto and on, strictly for the AC. All that's doing is turn the blower on all the time. So the blower will never shut off. It'll run constantly whether there's a call for AC or not. Auto, only time the blower runs is if there is a call for AC. The low and the high on the right side is strictly for AC also. It just ramps that blower up a little bit or slows it down a little bit, depending on what you need. We have 3 settings in the middle. We have cool, gas heat, and electric heat. So cool, of course, is your air conditioning. Gas heat is your most efficient way to heat this coach. If we get pretty much below 40 degrees, we're going to have to use the gas heat. Electric heat, your heat pump in your AC, only works if it's 40 degrees or warmer outside. So electric heat's just for kind of a take a chill off, pretty much, in a mild climate. So now we get into those freezing temperatures. Use your gas heat and leave it on. The second we shut that off and we're in those freezing temperatures, that's when we have a problem with our pipes freezing up.
Quick question. Yep. Are there sheets for sale that would fit the corner bed that you know of?
I believe there are. Otherwise, if you give us your email, I'm sure we can get back to you on that.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will use a queen and just tuck them underneath.
There's also a question on the 24V asking if that's the one that has the twin beds, and that indeed does. And if you go to our inventory pages, new or used inventory up above on our tabs, you can look at any of our in-stock inventory, including that 24V.
Yep. Definitely. Any models you're looking for, go to our website.
One more question. If I turn my AC to high, it starts blowing warm air after 20 to 30 minutes. Any idea what the issue might be?
Blowing warm air after 20 to 30 minutes. So I guess if it's cooling for 20 minutes, you probably have a internal problem with your AC because it is a sealed system. There's actually no way to charge those ACs. So it's probably an issue where it's low on Freon, or it's kicking your compressor out because there's a problem with wiring or something like that. In a situation like that, you probably should take it to your service dealer and have them take a look at it. All right, so moving on. Let's go up here. So up here is your king jack antenna. Very nice antenna. With these new antennas, we don't crank them up, we don't crank them down, so there's no chance of leaving a 3-foot antenna up on top of your roof. Now all we're doing is rotating. There's a push button here, push button, and then we're going to rotate. Just turn it on really quick. Okay, so what this is a signal meter. So all we're trying to do with this system is push the button and try to get as many blue lights as you can. I'm in a building right now, so I'm not going to get very many blue lights. So if you can get 3-4 blue lights, that's the best signal you can get. Leave it. Go do a channel search on your TV to find all the stations that are in that area. The other thing we have up here is an on-off switch. All that is doing is shutting these lights off. You still have power going to your TVs. Your booster switch is still on. And I'll show you your booster switch in a second that actually controls power to this system. Some people don't like the lights on at night, so they give you a disconnect for that. Probably wondering what an attenuator is. Well, what an attenuator does, if we're by a big city or something, picking up way too many channels, just kind of stuff you don't want, attenuator will allow you to dampen that signal down. So you're only picking up the strongest signal closest to you. 99% of the time, you're going to leave that maxed out because you're trying to find as many stations as you possibly can. But for that 1% that you might need it, that's what it's for. Back in your bedroom, carbon monoxide detector on the ceiling. To access that carbon monoxide detector, little bitty pin right there. If you don't pull that pin, you're going to break your detector. Pull the pin, twist, comes down, 9-volt battery right there. Test button right on the front. Test them off and make sure they work. This is important. LP detector is important. And then we also have a smoke detector up front. Reason you're seeing the red tab, brand new, hasn't been activated. You pull that for activating it.
Back to that antenna, Ben. Can the new antenna, the King Jack, be retrofit on a 2008 Navion?
Yes, it can. You can definitely retrofit it. The only thing that happens pretty much is you might see a little remnants from your old antenna on the roof, but if you take it to a person that knows what they're doing, it'll be sealed, it'll be good. You'll love that antenna. I would definitely change it if I were you. That's my opinion again.
All right, and then we had a request from Chatter 5605 to answer a question. Could you just retype that question in a 1-sentence format, and I will bring that up. Sorry that we haven't got to your question yet. All right, let's keep going, and I'll get that question asked here in just a moment.
Okay. So again, with your carbon monoxide detectors, change the batteries often, test them often. Okay, so in the back, kind of the brains of everything Winnebago does back here. So on the right side, this is our 1,000-watt inverter. So 1,000 watts is not a lot of wattage. Don't try to use a hairdryer, any of that stuff on them, because a lot of your hairdryers are 1,600 watts. Whatever you are going to plug into it, if it's not a phone, computer, any low wattage stuff, make sure you check the wattage so it doesn't over exceed that 1,000. But otherwise, for your inverter, right now it's giving us a green light. So that green light means we're on utility power. That means we're plugged in. We're not using the inverter. We're just passing through the inverter. If I went outside and unplugged right now, that light would change to yellow. So it'd go to yellow. Now that means we are using the inverter. Now we have to start managing our batteries, kind of keep an eye on them, see how, kind of watch how much power we're using. So once you go to a yellow light, now you can use that select button, and then you can look at the input current and the output power. So it helps you manage how much power you are using against that inverter. On the face, it's telling you battery voltage. So 13.5, the reason it's so high right now is we are plugged in, so we're being max charged. That's why it's reading 13.5. 12.4 to 12.7 is a good battery reading. Once we start getting into those 11s, that's where we want to start getting power back into the batteries, either by starting your generator, turning your engine on, or getting plugged in. Last thing on the inverter is if it goes to a red light, it means your battery power is too low, or there's a problem with the inverter. Again, if your battery power or if your inverter faults out, go out to the inverter. There are reset buttons and stuff to try first on that. Going above that, first switch over here is holding tank heaters. So what those are, they're 12-volt pads on the bottom of your gray tank and black tanks. Pretty much just help keep your waste pretty much thawed out so we can dump it in freezing conditions. So you get below freezing, turn that on. If you're above freezing, shut it off. It's just a waste of power if you don't need it. Next one is your secondary LP switch. So the secondary LP, again, works with that master switch outside. Both of them have to be on to get you LP inside. They give you a secondary one just in case you'd have a fire, something inside, you have quick reference to shut your LP off. We already talked about slide room switches. Now moving over to our one place panel. Okay, so on the right side, this is where we're going to start and stop our generator from. So there's two ways to start our generator. So right now it's saying auto stop. We can push start until it says auto start. So what auto start is doing, it's priming that generator for you. It's bringing that new fuel in, even if it's LP, still bringing new fuel in, and then it will start automatically after about 15 seconds. The other way is if I take it to auto start and then hold the start button, the generator will bypass that pre-start and start right away for you. You do have a meter on the bottom there, and there is a button for the meter. Oil changes are going to be every 50 hours of use, and then your manual wants you to exercise this generator 2 hours a month. Important to exercise the generator. The more we run these generators, the better they're going to run for you. So put those hours on it. It's actually a good thing to put hours on your generator. Nothing worse than someone bringing a coach to me, has 5 hours after 5 years. More than likely I'm tearing the generator off their coach, going through the whole thing, putting it back in. It's a costly process. So run your generator. Down below that, we have, if I push battery, it tells us our chassis battery level, tells us our house battery level. So it just gives you a way to manage your batteries, and that manages all 3 batteries for you. And your chassis battery will not charge when you're plugged in or generator running. Only way chassis battery charges is with your alternator on your engine. But your coach batteries charge with the engine running, generator, or be plugged in. Next one's tank. So you get your freshwater tank. You have your LP gas, you have your gray and black water. So all of them go up by thirds besides your LP. LP goes up by quarters. They want you a little more precise on that LP. So here is where we start and stop our water heater. 2 buttons. You have electric for water heater. We have LP for water heater. So if I push electric, it says water heater electric on. Push LP, water heater LP on. And again, like we talked about outside, you can run both of them at the same time, or you can run just LP, or you can run just electric, however you want to. Third water pump switch is right there.
All right, a couple questions. One is asking us if we're going to cover the settings and functions. I'm not sure of what that's in relation to, so maybe they can specify. Yeah. And then how do you charge the house batteries with a charger?
Literally, you probably would lift the step up and hook the charger right up to them. If you're going to install like a trickle charger, you can mount that down there and get it hooked up down there that way too. But that's a little more of a process. You have to run a wire up to solenoids and stuff like that. Otherwise, if you're just using a normal charger, take the step well open, hook it right up right there. Okay. All right, so let's go down below that. And then if we get back to that question of up there.
Quick question. We should run the generator every 2 months?
Every month.
Every month.
2 hours every month. So main thing, put those hours on it. Every month, let's run it 2 hours at least. It's better to run it more if you have to. Just 2 hours a month under a 50% load. So run the generator, turn your AC on, turn the fridge on, turn electric elements on. Something to put a load on that generator, just to make it run better. All right, let's move down to the North Cold refrigerator. So on the top, good size freezer. Has removable trays on the door, removable tray in the freezer, and it also comes with 1 ice cube tray. If you'll need more ice cubes than that. Alright, so down in the fridge, again, removable trays on the side. Two of the trays do have spacers, just helps hold things in place, milk, orange juice, whatever you put over there. These trays are removable, adjustable, but you have to remove one screw on the right side of each one to actually pull that tray out. Down below that is just a fresh drawer, and the storage drawer down low. Okay, so now moving up to the controls. So we have our eyebrow right here. We're going to push the power button to bring up our screen. Brings up the LED screen. Now it's all touch screen. So the A means we're in automatic. If I'm just on the plug-in, that's just 110 power. Switch it over to battery, 12 volt. The reason it's flashing at me right now is because the only way 12 volt runs is if you have your engine started. Without the engine started, it's not going to run. So one more, and then the little raindrop is LP gas. 90% of the time, I leave it on auto. Let the fridge decide what it wants, because if you lose power in the middle of the night, automatic's going to change it over to LP gas automatically. Keep all your stuff cold inside. Coming over to the next setting, this is your temperature setting. It goes from 1 bar to 5 bars. 1 bar is your warmest setting, 5 is your coldest. Start at probably a 3. I do know 5 will almost, in the right climate, freeze food at the top of your fridge. So start at like a 3 and then step it up if you have to, or step it down, depending on your climate. Next one over is a defrost. What it actually turns a defrost on or off. It's not a refrigerator defrost. What it actually is, it's an eyebrow defrost. So every time we open the freezer or the fridge, we're allowing moisture to get into these electronics here. So that actually is a little heating element in there that keeps it dried out. Keeps all the electronics dried out so we don't fry circuit boards, any of that stuff. I would always just leave that on, unless you're trying to boondock and save power or something like that. Okay.
All right, the settings and functions is referring to the dash up front. So we'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yep, we'll be going up there.
And then question about why it takes so long for the refrigerator to get cold. It seems to take about, I think they're saying 3 to 4 hours.
Yes, and the main reason is this is an absorption refrigerator. So there's no pumps, no compressors, no nothing. All we're using is ammonia and gravity. So what we're doing, we're either taking an electric heat element or we're taking LP gas with a flame. We're vaporizing ammonia. So what we do is we vaporize it. Once it turns to a vapor, it rises to the top of the fridge. As it cools, it goes back down, and that's where we get our cooling from. So that's why right when it's starting to turn back into a liquid, it's at its coldest. That's why that's up at the freezer. It gets cold up there, freezes things. The further down, it starts separating, then that's where it gets a little bit warmer, and that's why it's in your fridge. So that's why it actually takes so long. It's a long process to actually vaporize all that ammonia, get it flowing in a cycle on its own. If we had pumps, compressors, stuff like that, it would go faster, but they actually take power, all that stuff. Very good refrigerator. Main thing about the refrigerator is be level. Be as level as you can. It's 6 degrees one way, 4 degrees the other way. If we sit too long out of level or out of those parameters, you can burn your fridge out. So then again, get leveling blocks, put HWH jacks on it, put any of that stuff on it to help you level this up. But when in doubt, be as level as you can.
The question from earlier was, is it necessary to lubricate the slide track mechanism and the slide seals?
It doesn't hurt. I mean, if they're not loud, not noisy, don't worry about it. Otherwise, you can do it monthly if you want to. It all depends. And again, don't hit the track. The track does not need to be lubricated. It's the gibs and the rollers inside. So pull your rubber seal back and just squirt some right there at the wall of the coach. Pretty much if we're going to lubricate all those tracks, all we're doing is allowing dust, everything else to stick to those tracks. That just makes the gear inside work twice as hard if it starts binding up with grease and gunk. So yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can do it monthly. It's fine. I mean, there's no need unless you have a problem, pretty much.
All right, Ben, I bet you can guess what this question is, even though I can't see the end of it. Regarding LP switches, if the outside switch is on and the inside switch is
off, you won't have any LP. If it's on, you'll have LP to everything. Both switches have to be on to get LP to the coach. So if the inside one is off, it cuts all LP off to the coach.
Okay, so both on.
Both on, yep. They work on the same solenoid. You're just controlling it 2 ways.
Great.
Okay, so we talked about that. Also, your fridge down at the bottom has a travel latch here. So if you get a lot of weight in your door, close it, put the travel latch on. That just will help keep that door closed so it's not flinging open while you're going down the road. All right, right around the corner, light switches are on the bottom. So this is pretty much all the front galley. Shuts all that stuff off, all your LEDs. Top one here is for the exhaust fan right above my head. So just a little fan up here. That's that top switch, really quiet. Anytime we're cooking or something, either have that fan running, have the window open, one or the other. Just so we don't create a negative pressure in here. All right, so above the cooktop, more storage up there. Your latch is way to the left side. Main reason for that is we have our heat shield above the cooktop. So they put the latch way to the left side. Works just like your other ones. All right, coming down below that to your cooktop. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip the glass tray up. Okay, so now here, where we set everything to, there's a little bump right there at the top side. This is where everything gets set to. So if we want to light it, we would turn this to light. So then light's facing that bump. We're gonna push down, spark it. You might have to spark it 2 or 3 times, depending if you get air in your line. Hold the button down for about 3 seconds. There's a thermocoupler on the back side that we're trying to warm up. Pretty much a safety device saying there is a flame going. After that flame's going, now we can take it down to a simmer, or again up to that high flame. If you want to shut it off, just go back to the off position facing forward. Same with the other burner. Main thing to remember on this is if you do use it a lot, it is hot. Wait till it cools down before you bring the glass top back down, because it will bust under too much heat.
Earlier question I don't think we got answered. Coach batteries should be removed and stored in room temperature?
Don't necessarily have to be. I mean, if you feel safer that way. Here at our dealership, we do remove our batteries, and we do put them inside. We just do that because we have so many batteries that it'd be probably a lot of money if they all exploded. But the main thing, again, like I keep stressing, put a full charge on them before you store them. You should never have a problem as long as it's a full charge, water levels are good, and then you store it. You should be fine in any temperature. But if you feel safer, you can pull them and store them inside.
Okay.
All right, down below that, short drawer here. So just a little extra drawer they actually gave, just to give you a little more extra storage. Remote wise, in this model, we have 4 remotes. Starting on the right side. So this one that's not labeled, nothing. This one's actually for your infotainment center up front. Reason they give you a remote for that is because the infotainment center is the only one that offers Sirius XM radio. So if you want to use that camping, you can sit back here and change Sirius stations. Next one over, Insignia remote. That's for our front TV. Next one over, be Jensen remote. Again, for the bedroom TV. And then this little bitty one. That's for your DVD player that's right around the corner. So 4 remotes in here, not a ton of remotes, easy to remember. More storage all the way down, full extension drawers. Ball bearing slides. If you ever need a remote, move a drawer. Little trick to it. There's little tabs here. Left one up, right one down. It's the only way that drawer is going to remove off the ball bearing slide. And then when you go back in, you'll feel it get hard, push through it, and you'll hear it clip back in place. Over here underneath the sink, really, really big storage. So we got lots of storage under here. A couple things under here. One is our drinking water filter. So it's a 3M filter. The whole thing is the filter. It's not a drop-in cartridge, none of that stuff. So when we replace it, we replace that whole cartridge there. There's also, which will come with your little goodies, this little plug here. I'm sure you guys have got coaches before and wonder what that plug is for. It's actually for that filter. So when I take that filter out, it doesn't self-bypass. We put this in for winterizing. Put it in, quarter turn. Now that plugs that off so it can flow through it. And then you always want to pull those filters when you pump RV antifreeze through. You don't want to pump RV antifreeze through those filters because it's just going to absorb the oils and everything else and pretty much ruin your filter. Filter wise, I'm sure somebody's going to ask, when does it need to be replaced? There's no set time. It's based on the taste and smell of your water. And I can't tell you how long because it depends how much water you use. But again, I probably replace it at least once a year. Just Even if I don't use it a lot, still replace it once a year. You can call us, we can ship it right to you. Okay, now let's go into entertainment. So a couple things back here. Way in the back, you'll see two coax. One of the coax is for portable satellite dish. The other one is for a rooftop mounted satellite dish. So that portable one's going to run to your electrical compartment out there where you would hook a portable satellite dish up. Your rooftop one, the cables actually run up to your roof and they're buried in your roof. The little coax with the green light on it there, that's actually your booster switch. That's what's actually giving your king jack antenna power. So if you do not have that button on or that green light's not on, you're not going to get any local stations off your king jack antenna. If you do hook up to cable at a resort, make sure you shut the booster switch off. All it's going to do is give you static, sends power down the line that the coax doesn't, or that the cable doesn't like. So for cable, shut it off. Next one over is an HDMI port. Pretty much that's if we want to put a Blu-ray player up here, satellite receiver, that is pre-fed into the front TV. And that's front TV only.
Best question of the day, Ben.
Uh-oh.
Is Ben Fulman related to Nicole Fulman?
That would be my wife. Yes.
And Nicole is a sales consultant here.
She is a sales consultant, yes. So yes, she is my wife. Okay. One more trick too. If this TV is ever rattling while you're traveling down the road, on the back side there's just a couple bumpers here that you can adjust, make it a little tighter so it's not going to sit there and rattle on you. And your TV has that same positive pressure latch on the bottom that you just release and pull open. All right. So, bunk area. Ladder is stored right on the right side of the bunk. Easy access. There's two clips up top that it just snaps into for storage. All we got to do is, if we're going to use the bunk, we're going to grab on and we're going to flip it over. It'll fit right in there. Ladder comes off. So the ladder has to be straight out like this. So go straight on and then go down. And that's what actually locks that ladder onto the bed. So now, if you do that, now that ladder can't pop off if kids are going up or if you're going up there or whoever. Same thing removing it. Just go up. Slide it off, and it releases off.
Quick TV question. Do all TVs mount the same? It seems hard to get to it on a 2008.
A lot of them do. There's always different mounts. It all depends what mount they used at that time. A lot of them mount with normally 4 screws on the back, or your 2008, if you probably look underneath, there's going to be a couple screws on the bottom that will release that mounting on the bottom of it. So release the 2 screws, flip it up, come out. If it's a tube TV, it's going to be a bracket that's underneath it, and behind it you got to disassemble a lot of stuff to actually tear a tube TV out. It all depends what kind of TV you have in your coach. Okay, a couple more features up in the bunk area is you do have 2 curtains on both little windows up there. We have an LED reading light that has a toggle switch right on the light there, that little black switch. You have a privacy curtain that comes, meets in the middle, and then has 2 tethers here that are strapped on. They're just, all it is a snap button. So just unsnap it, pull the curtain across. So there are 2 speakers up in the bunk area. There's 2 speakers over by your dinette. Those are all for your entertainment back here. Up above is our skylight. So on the skylight, you have your privacy curtain there, which again, during the day, it's going to help keep a ton of heat out. Or we have our screen that can come across. You have 2 ways to control this skylight. There's a button here that we can lift it up, or we also have a button down just inside the main walk-in door that will actually control that. So you can use either button, doesn't matter. All right, let's go into the DVD player. CD player, DVD player, Bluetooth. There's a lot of features to this. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. On the left side here, you have your power button first. Your next button is Bluetooth. If you want to use Bluetooth, push it once and then hold it. Then it's going to tell you pairing for 120 seconds. Now just go on your mobile device, Turn your Bluetooth on, search for this device, and then connect to it. The system back here is strictly going to be for music, not hands-free calling, any of that stuff. Your system up front is going to be for your hands-free calling and music. You can use either or up there. Next button down is going to be your AM/FM selector. Next button is auxiliary port. Okay, with the auxiliary port, if you put this system on auxiliary in, what it's actually doing, it's backfeeding your TV down through the surround sound. So for watching just our King Jack antenna, or if you have a satellite receiver, put this on auxiliary in, and then you can backfeed the TV through all the surround sound and get the volume coming off of that. But volume on this is going to be based on whatever volume your TV's at too. So the louder your TV, the louder you can go with this. Next one down is a DVD USB selector. You have a menu for the CDs or DVDs, eject button. Down below that, it's a USB port or auxiliary AV in. This USB is strictly an in feed, so it's not going to charge your phone. It's not going to do that. It's strictly to stream Netflix off computers, movies, music, stuff like that.
How do you save a radio channel?
Hold the button. What we're going to do, if you're on FM or AM, hold the number 1, number 2, or number 3, and then it's going to save to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, whatever one you want to.
I'm not sure this is a comment or a question, but do people know the TV can use the speaker system through auxiliary?
Yeah, and that's what I was just talking about.
Okay.
Is that auxiliary on the DVD player. So if you put that on auxiliary in, that back feeds the TV down through all your surround sound.
Great. And then is there room to add Roku to the back of the television?
It's tight back there. There's only one HDMI port, so it'd be close. I mean, it's really tight behind the front TV. You could try it, I guess. That's all I can really tell you is try it, maybe, but it would be probably tight back there to do it.
And a question on the cab over bunk. Is there a weight limit?
300 pounds. Actually, send us your email. I'll actually get that answer. I think it might be more than that, but so yeah, send us your email. We'll get you that answer. Rough, I'm thinking 300. Okay, so back to the radio. So on the right side, you have your mute button. We have two kinds of alarms on this system. So if I push it once, it becomes a sleep timer. Now I can set that sleep timer up to 60 minutes, and then this system will shut down after however many minutes you set it at. The other one is if I push set and now hold it, now it becomes a normal alarm. Set it for whatever time you want to get up, and then the radio will come back on at the same volume that you set it at when you shut it off. Up above that, you have your scroll here to scroll through radio stations, tune, seeks, hours and minutes. That's setting your alarm, setting the clock on the face. Volume buttons in the middle here. You have 3 speaker controls. A and B are going to be the 4 interior speakers, and then C will be your 2 exterior speakers. Then down below that, you have your scans through presets. You have your audio, which is going to be your bass, your trebles, your fades. You have all your presets down below that. You can play, pause, stop the DVD or CD from here also too. And then up here you have brightness, and that's that back screen. You can take that to off, or you can take it all the way up to 9 for how bright you want that back screen. All right, let's go into rotating the driver's seat and passenger seat. Really easy to do. The main trick to them is you always want this seat all the way forward. Both seats have to be all the way forward to rotate them. That's how we clear the door. That's how we clear the steering wheel. And then this is your release button right here. You're just going to grab it, pull, and then it will release. Again, make sure your parking brake is pushed down. Then we can turn it all the way around. And then once you get around, then you can go back to as far as it'll allow you to. On the side of your chair, so this would be actually on the right side as you're sitting forward, you have your lumbar support, which is here. Your armrest, which can be locked in any position. You hear it click, locking. To reset, just go all the way up and come back down. On the other side, so over here, the front little crank here is just a turn crank. is going to lift the front of your feet up or put them down. Next one back is actually going to raise you up or raise you down. It's a pump. So if I want to go up, I'll pump it up. If I want to go down, I'll pump it down, and that will lower me. And when it lowers and raises, it actually kind of goes at an angle, so you might have to adjust your chair a little bit. And then the last one on the back is actually for your backrest. So tip it any way you want to. But again, the main thing, if you can remember, for rotating chairs, seat all the way forward.
All right, a couple radio questions. How are the settings stored? Is it always drawing some power even if you know, it's not plugged in?
Are we talking front radio or back radio?
I believe the one that we were just at.
That one. Again, yes, they are always draining power. There's always little computers and stuff like that that do run in there. And there is no disconnect for that one.
Because someone was commenting that they always lose their settings.
Yeah, you will lose your settings. Yep. And there's no saving it. There's no memory inside that radio back here that saves them if we lose power. It's just like your microwave there. You will have to reset the clock. You'll have to reset presets and stuff like that if we lose power or kill power to the coach.
And can you auto search for available radio stations on the DVD radio player?
Yep. What you're going to do is actually you're tuning up in the right hand corner. You're going to hold that button, and then it's going to seek for you. So instead of just pushing it once, hold it for about 3 seconds, and that will put you in a seek mode.
Okay.
All right. So up front here, you also do have your booster seat, pretty much. Lifts you up about 4 inches. Helps you, so when we're turned around, helps you so you get your feet further off the ground. Main thing is, don't travel with these on. They're not rated to be in there when you're traveling. What could happen, they can slide out from underneath you if you get in an accident. So take them off, store them when you are traveling.
Comment on up front on the Rand McNally GPS. They're saying it does not bring in AM stations. Is that a defective unit, potentially?
Yes, it would be. Any of them should bring in AM stations. It's on the band. Actually, if you look on the right side of your radio, it says AM1, AM2. You should have AM stations.
Okay. Someone else was commenting that it's an antenna issue, possibly, with AM.
Yes, it could be. Because AM takes, a lot of times you have to have a stronger signal to pick up AM stations. So it could be a faulty antenna. It could be your antenna came unhooked from the back of your radio. And there's actually a couple connection points that are in the ceiling that might have came unhooked also.
Does the house disconnect also disconnect the house stereo?
House disconnect disconnects everything. So if you shut the house disconnect off, it shuts every single thing down. There's nothing that will be running back here. So that's why it's important in the winter, if you're going to store it, to hit that disconnect, because then it shuts your batteries completely down. Okay, so up front here, was that it?
Yep.
All right, up front. So over on your door, way on the left side, you have your window control and your mirror controls. You can control right and left mirror. You're only controlling the big mirror on both sides, the top mirror. The bottom blind spot mirror is a hand controller. So you have to physically go out and set that to whatever you want there. Up on the dash, the little round knob on the left side there is your light control. So you have running lights, and the next click down is your full lights. You have daytime running lights, but you don't have automatic lights. So at night you have to remember, turn your full lights on. When you're done, shut them back off. To use your fog lights, you're going to click it all the way on and pull out on the handle. Pull straight out, that activates your fog lights. So the little handle on top of your steering wheel there is actually your cruise control. Cruise control is always on. So all you literally have to do is hit that up or down to set a cruise. And then you're going to pull it towards you to resume a cruise. And it says push back to shut it off, but all you're technically doing is canceling a cruise. Just like the same thing would happen if you hit your brake. Next.
A couple questions here real quick. Is it hard to get access behind the front radio?
It's not too bad. You kind of have to trust yourself a little bit. So what it is, so the front radio, actually, the applique that's here, will actually, if you have a screwdriver, it's a little hard without a screwdriver, but. So if you have a screwdriver, this will pop off. And then there's actually about 12 screws, and then this whole thing will pop out. Just remember, there's a cable down here that's hooked up to this front panel. It's for your flashers and locks and stuff. Make sure you hook that back up. And then make sure these all get back in the exact same spots. And you don't lose, there's little steel clips back there that you have to have too. So if you feel comfortable, it's not horrible, but Just be careful with your applique there.
And then someone asking, what's with the 2 battery buttons on the dash?
2 battery buttons. I'm thinking they're referring to the middle battery buttons, would be my guess.
Yeah.
So here we got radio power and we have battery boost. So what radio power is, on the top side it says engine and house. What we're doing is running the front radio and we're selecting which batteries we want. We either want our starting battery or we want our house batteries. So if you're camping and you want to use the front radio, you would switch it over to house. Otherwise, if you were on engine, you would have to have the key on. So if you're traveling, you'd probably switch it back over to engine so it works like a normal car radio. Every time I shut the ignition off, it shuts down. That's what the right one's for. The left one, battery boost, is exactly what it says. It's if we ever kill our chassis battery, so we left our lights on, any of that stuff, and the battery was dead, we can jump that battery off the 2 house batteries in the back. It's a momentary switch, so what you have to do is hold it, put your key in, turn it over, and then turn it on, and that will jump start your coach, and then let go and it returns back to the position it was in. So it's a good feature. A lot of people have used that at least once since they've owned a coach. It's kind of a lifesaver in a way.
Question, at night a green headlight shows up on the speedometer. What would that be?
Actually, it probably is there during the day. You probably don't notice it. It's actually your daytime headlights is actually on, so you probably don't have your full headlights on.
And then how do you vary the brightness on the turn signals and hazard in the daytime?
To make them brighter. Actually, there on this coach there is no dimmer switch at all for dimming those. Normally you'd have your dimmer switch that you could roll up and down to have that. There actually is not one on this chassis.
All right, and then a question, should the buttons along the left edge of the Rand McNally be backlit?
Actually, no, they're actually not. We've actually had a lot of people ask that, and they do not light up.
Okay.
So,
can the dash radio play through the house speakers?
Yes, they are backlit. I'm sorry. Yes, they should be backlit. It's a red backlight.
If you have your
lights on. Yep. Okay, what was the next question? Sorry.
Can the dash radio play through the house speakers?
No, it can't. Prior to, it was right around that 2013 time, they stopped doing that. They used to play it in the back, but now it's strictly your dash radio is dash speakers. Your house radio is all your house speakers back there. Okay, so over here, shifting wise, I mean, it's going to shift exactly like it shows there. Over, down, over, down. Once you get down to drive, you can manual shift too. There's a minus and plus there. So all you got to do is tap it left or tap it right if you want to go down gears or up gears. Your transmission will not allow you to overshift, so don't worry about hitting it too many times, because if its RPMs aren't in range, it's not going to allow you to shift. That's a good feature if we're going down mountain hills, any of that, or mountains. We can downshift and let our engine kind of do the braking for us instead of riding our brakes all the way down the mountains and heating those up and chance of those failing. And when you do downshift and upshift, it will display up there on the bottom of your cluster where it says drive. It will tell you 5th gear, 4th gear, 3rd gear, 2nd gear, 1st gear. Okay, back to that question about this. Right there's that hard spot somebody asked about the ashtray. Just tap it. All of them are like that. They all got that little bit of a hang up, and just tap it. Some of them are harder than the others. So there is a 12-volt outlet underneath that ashtray, down at the bottom. 12-volt outlet in here, a removable ashtray. Adjustable cup holder. So adjust in, go all the way in, resets. Above that, you have your hazards in the middle. So that puts your 4-way flashers on. ASR, what that's for is traction control. You have the ability to shut that off if you want to. 99% of the time, there's not a reason to ever shut that off. I would just always leave it on. These are door locks. That will lock all your doors or unlock all your doors. Coming above to your climate control, there is no on-off button on this either. So we're setting temp with that little white dial there. So again, not a automatic system, so if you set it at 72, it's not going to shut off when we have 72 degree in here. It just will always blow 72 degree air. So if you want to turn the system on, you just have to push the fan up, and then lights will come up on the fan. System's on. No lights, system's off.
Couple questions. If they aren't backlit, what should they look for?
If they aren't backlit, I would probably go into settings of the radio. Go into the settings, look for a light setting in those settings. I can't tell you exactly. I actually, prior to this, I didn't think they were backlit, but I wanted to check.
Yeah, maybe they aren't in 2015 prior or something, because someone's saying that theirs don't illuminate either.
Yeah,
so
the new one's doing, actually, like I said, prior to this, I didn't think they did, but that's why I double checked for you guys.
Sure, and we are in a 2016.
This is a 2016
motorhome.
Yep.
Someone reminding us not to forget the volume on the GPS radio.
I will definitely go through that.
Okay. And then where's the Bluetooth microphone? People are saying they can't hear the person talk.
This is the mic right here. It's actually on your radio, so project it towards the infotainment center.
Okay.
Okay, so back to your climate control. AC control is right here. That will circulate air just in the coach, not bring any fresh air from outside. These are all your vent controls. So uppers, defrosters, lowers, middles. Next one over is a low defrost. So pretty much it's just turning your air conditioning on and giving you that little bit of drier air to defrost those windows. Next one over is a paper clip. Tow road tickets, whatever you want to put in there. Just push on the top, put it underneath. I think Mercedes needed a filler, so you get a paper clip. Alright, going above that. Now we're to probably what everyone wants to know. Infotainment center. So this is technically how it's going to look if it's off. And we have power to it. It's going to give you the time. It's going to give you, usually if the engine's running, it'll give you the compass. It'll give you the temperature, outside temp. So now what we can do is we can push menu. So if I push menu again, right here is everything this system offers. It's a radio, DVD player, USB, Sirius XM, Bluetooth. So everything on the top it offers, everything on the bottom, besides the Rad McNally, which it offers, the auxiliary ports aren't used on this. They're actually in the back of the radio. Same with the USB port. It's no longer on this radio. It's just an icon they still have on there. The navigation is here, but you also have a button out there. Right here's the settings. This is probably where I would look for that nighttime dim, daytime dim right here for backlight. Let's see, standby screen. Auto dim, so auto dim, screensaver, temperature, compass, time set, touch calibration. So it might be one of those things. I mean, you can try. This is where somebody asked me, they keep shutting off. Try this factory reset on the third page of the system menu. That might help you with that. Otherwise, again, you can go to a dealer or call Rad McNally, and they probably can send you a file to shock your system too. Going back in here. These are all your settings, so if you need to change any settings, go into your settings. You got video. Right here is audio. So go into your audio or settings, audio. This is where we're going to change the volume of the navigation that somebody asked me about. So go into the audio. Go into page 2. Right there is navigation volume and the mixing valve. So what the mixing valve is how loud you want her to come over the radio, or if you want her to be the same as the radio or quieter than the radio. But that is where you'll actually change that navigation volume.
Question if they can pair their iPhone to the GPS system via Bluetooth to play iHeartRadio.
You can do that, yeah, through your navigation. You can Bluetooth, or not navigation, but through this right here, your Bluetooth. Just go into menu, select Bluetooth. Down the right corner, we're going to push that. It says no paired devices. Push new. Pair your iPod or iPhone or any of that stuff to the system. If it asks you for a code, it's always 4 zeros. 0, 0, 0. Always. Either system, it's always 4 zeros. So pair your phone, and then now you have access to play whatever music you want to. It will actually show up on the right-hand corner. It'll have play, pause, fast forward, tell you what radio station you're playing on your phone. And then you can download your contacts, all that stuff off of that also. And Sirius XM's here. There is no free subscription to Sirius on this model. So if you do want to subscribe, go up. Right here's your radio ID number on channel 0. Call Sirius XM. Add this vehicle to your plan or get a new plan. But this is the number they're going to ask for. USB port is actually right under this little flip port right there. So stick your finger outside, pull it up. You have the USB there, and then we have an auxiliary in port, which is actually this F auxiliary. Up above that is your SD card. Your SD card here has all your maps on it, navigation, all that stuff is on that SD card. If your maps become outdated, all you have to do is refer to your manual. Go under Rad McNally, they tell you which website to go to, and then, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it's free updates for life, but you'll have to go on the website and make sure and check that out. But I'm pretty sure, I've been told by quite a few customers that it was.
Is there a plug for your phone, Ben?
Like, yeah.
Cord?
There's not. Okay. So you would have to use your normal charging cord and plug it into this USB, and then you can run everything off that USB port. So if you want to play music that way, instead of Bluetoothing it, you can do it that way also.
Or you could run an auxiliary cord to your headphone jack.
Yep, right there too. Yep. So there's 3 ways you could actually run music up here if you wanted to. Alright, and then DVD player. This is a DVD player. You can watch movies on it, but the second we put the transmission into drive, it shuts it down. It doesn't want you watching movies as you're traveling down the road. Alright, let's go to the menu. So radio. So on the radio, again, yeah, these AM on the side should always work. I mean, they're just like FM. So if you're not getting AM, more than likely it probably is an antenna problem. Probably just not plugged in. Or bad cord going up to the antenna. FM's on the left side, AM right. You have tuning and seek. Your presets on the bottom. If you want to set a preset, just like the back radio, just hold it. Then now sets to that preset. Left side, you got your volume button here, turns the volume up. If I push it once, it mutes it. If I hold that button, it will shut this down. Up here on favorite, if I push favorite, right now favorites is set up to Sirius XM radio. Again, go into your settings, and I believe it was on the 3rd page of the system setting. You can change what you want on that favorite button. Next one up is camera. That's your rear view camera. You can run that anytime. Going down the road, your radio's still going to play over top of it. There is a one-way speaker on it. So that up on top there, that little button, turns your speaker on or off. So it's a one-way speaker. So if someone's backing you in, you can hear him or them. They can't hear you. And navigation. Couple things about navigation. Your RV tools. First thing you'll want to do is go in there and set up all your warnings, set up all your RV, what kind of RV you have. The choose destination is just like any other GPS, pretty much. Put your new location in. You have address books. You can set up multi-stops. Points of interest are going to be like your casinos, your gas stations, your RV service stations, dump stations, campgrounds, all that stuff. They have a lot of features in there. The best thing to do with the navigation is just go in there and play with it. There's so much stuff, it would take me an hour to hour and a half to explain that. So the best thing is just to kind of toy around with it. Alright. And then it is a CD player up top. Awesome.
Just a reminder to everyone, too, that we can certainly take any questions that you have if you want to chat in your email address, and we can answer those after the webcast for you if we didn't cover them in the webcast. Yep. We're going to be going off air here in just a moment. Also want to remind you, though, that we can answer questions on any of our in-stock inventory and do these live for you with a sales consultant. Yep. So reach out to us. We'd be happy to get a live video set up specifically for you, and we can, again, walk through any of our in-stock RVs, and we'd be happy to show you all the features and answer any questions, in addition to those walk-around videos that we have on all new motorhomes as well. So, Ben, thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Hopefully that was helpful.
I think we did the best we could with our technology, and hopefully we got a lot of questions answered. So, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.